Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First, I would like to thank SRM for inviting me for this wonderful opportunity. I also want to thank TED, and most importantly, I want to thank my boss, Dr. Kalpana Shankar, who so graciously has given her opportunity to me to do this for you. When I think about social entrepreneur, I was just thinking, I have been given a very short notice that I have to make a presentation. I was thinking, who can be a social entrepreneur? And people will laugh when they say that you are in the business and you don't know who you are. Fine, that's the fact as such. We never know what we are. When I was a child, I used to go every day to get some milk from the milk depot. And very often people think that only women work in the house. Most often the men also work in the house, and most importantly, if you are the first son of the family, you have to do a lot of work, and I had to do a lot of work. So what has happened was I used to go to the milk booth morning 4:30 or so, and then cajole that fellow and tell him, please, I want 1/2 a liter of milk packet extra today, 1/2 a liter of milk bottle extra today, and all that. Because in those days, for many of the new generation students who are here, they may not be understanding that in this country, there was an acute shortage of milk in this country, and it was hectic to get one extra packet of milk in those days. And all this changed somewhere in the mid 70s, late 60s and all that, because of a gentleman called Dr. Verghese Kurian, who headed the Operation Flood. And to my knowledge, he has been the first social entrepreneur that I have come across. So having taken a cue from that, then I thought, let me go and define. Most of my presentation, I'm sure that you will be able to get it from the Google. So I'll make a fast about that and only try to twin around whatever little experiences I can share with you. So what is the definition for a social entrepreneur or a social enterprise? It is nothing much different from the regular enterprise or something. Only thing is, in a regular enterprise you are profit focused, whereas in a social entrepreneur thing, this person has to be absolutely innovative. He has to see out of the box opportunities and seize them and use them ingeniously for the benefit of the society at large. So is there a need for a social enterprise or a social entrepreneur at all? Yes, I personally feel, because 80% of the resources in the world happen to be available to the 20% of the people, and 80% of the people in the world have to make good with the balance available 20%. So there is an absolutely lopsided, skewed availability of resources, and to ensure that some of these poor people who have to share the 80%, the 80% of the people who have to share the 20% of the resources, they need the support of some people who can show them the way. Somewhere around 81 or 82, I saw a Tamil movie called Yedavadu Manithan. I do not know how many of you have ever heard about that movie. It stuck in my mind because the first slide I saw in that movie says that ஊருக்கு 6 பேர் தேவை, அதை சொல்வதற்கோ ஒரு 7வது மனிதன் தேவை. It says that for every village it requires about 6 people, and to tell that to the villagers, you need a 7th person. And I call the social entrepreneur is always the 7th person to tell those poor people who are not having the privilege of understanding their opportunities or understanding where they can get some benefits and all that. It is this social entrepreneur who tries to help them out and things like that. And just to make the thing spicy, can anybody guess who the 6 people who are needed by the village? I can give you a clue for 5 members, so one you can think about. The first person is a teacher, the second person is the doctor, and the third person is the policeman or the Urkavalar in Tamil Nadu, and the fourth person is an undertaker. And the fifth person, please don't laugh, but there's an important thing, is a barber. And now tell me who is the 6th person. You're eating away into my time if you're taking too much of your time. Okay, I'll tell you that the 6th person, you won't believe it, is a money lender. So in those, for the long time back, people needed support. And so what happens is, all these social entrepreneurs are expected to be the 7th persons as such. So to be a social entrepreneur, do you need to have some qualification? Again, I fall back onto another movie in Telugu called Atadu. The protagonist, after a very long hiatus out of his village, he comes back to the village and he asks one of his friends, what's happening in the village? The village fellow says, boss, nothing big about things. All the fellows who have not studied have started opening schools, and all the fellows who have studied started working in them. So what happens is, it really doesn't mean that you should be absolutely qualified to be a social entrepreneur or something. All that you require is to have the passion to help out to the society, to reach out to the society, and you can be a little bit caring, where you have to be a bit people oriented, and then creative. Think about out of the box, solutions and things, and then you have to be not averse to risk, and you should be absolutely be in a position to take risks as such, because in a social entrepreneur thing, you are not aiming at absolute profits at all. You are aiming up to the general profit, for the general benefit for the people as such, and things like that. Then you have to have immense amount of determination. You have no determination, you cannot be successful social entrepreneur at all. You have to have a passion, and you have to live up to that passion, and ensure that passion takes you to the ultimate goal, to reach out to the people, and to reach out to the community and to the society at large. And you should be a visionary, and you should have ingenious ideas, and then you should be a leader. If you cannot lead, you cannot make people follow you, and then that's of no use at all. And then you should be more achievement and more impact oriented, and rather than just profit oriented as such. So what are the enterprise or the models that you have and things like that? You can be an individual maverick who are absolutely passionate, and you are proceeding and taking out things and all that. Or you can be, the social entrepreneur, the enterprise itself can be started by a poor, or it can be for the poor as such, and things like that. Then it can be either run by a not-for-profit organizations or for-profit organizations. I have not mentioned the word not-for-profit organization in my slide for the simple reason, when you say it is a not-for-profit organization, it automatically, or at least by and large, denotes that it is philanthropy or some sort of a charity as such. So ultimately the job is that there is, the model is to help the society and to help the people at large. And what are the potential areas where a social entrepreneur can work? I personally feel in countries in developing world, the potential is immense. If you really look forward, there is a scope for developing people everywhere and everywhere and everywhere, period, as such. But okay, if you don't have the, like my friend Mr. Vadivelu was telling in the morning, you need to have focus, you need to have emotional set, and everything you have to have in a structured way. Then United Nations has helped us to give some sort of a structure to help the social entrepreneurs. That is by way of Millennium Development Goals. There are some 8 Millennium Development Goals, and 7 of them are absolutely development oriented. They are something like rationalizing the poverty levels. In fact, it says that eradication of poverty. I personally, as a human being, as Hemanth Kumar, I feel that eradicating poverty is a very large task, because poverty, as for the lexicon, is a relative term. If somebody is having a Mercedes and I am having only a Maruti, I am poorer than a guy who is having Mercedes. So how do you really relate poverty as such? So what I say is, we'll rationalize the poverty levels. We say that this person who has been in this position has been brought to this position. That is my contribution to them and all that. So that is where one can have a social enterprise. Or somebody can have help in primary education, health interventions, or just empowering women through self-help groups, microfinance, or in any other way, whatever it is possible. And like Sunita Krishnan, who has been mentioning in one of the videos, in so many ways we can help the poor women empowered and things like that. Then we have AIDS, malaria control, tuberculosis, name them, and we have all those things. You have samples and museums and zoos. Every disease in this country is possible. We can help them out into these health ideas and things like that. Then finally, we have to think about the environment also. So we have to conserve our water. In future, very often people have been telling, but none of us have been really seriously giving it a thought, is that wars are going to be more for water than for anything else. Blood will become cheaper than water very soon, and we have to conserve our water energy, we have to conserve our wind energy, etc., and things like that. And the 8th Millennium Development Goal says, to achieve all these things, we should have global partnerships, and that is what it has to happen. The social entrepreneur, if they think that they are not able to perform or they are not able to achieve something on their own, they have to think about partnerships where like-minded people can virtually help them out and try to achieve the goal for the benefit of the large society as such. And what is the type of capital that is required for the social enterprise? There are 3 types of broad capital things. Is emotional capital, where you need your passion towards this. That is the most important, the primary capital that is required for being, a social entrepreneur. Then you need economical capital where you need the money, and now the social enterprise is so recognized that most of the banks are coming forward to give venture capital for the social enterprises as such. And the third thing, most important thing is, if you are alone, probably you can reach a mile, but if you have to reach 1,000 miles, you need a team, and that team, you have to percolate your own passion, your own ideas towards your team also. So the employee becomes the third capital. That's why I said the 3 E's of the capital. And what is a business? It's nothing different at all. It's just like any other business. You need a strategy, you need a business plan, you need capital, you need people, you need resources, you have to use them very, very well, and things like that. And finally, the bottom lines. I say it's a mischievous title I gave, see the bottom lines. But then the basic idea is, the social bottom line is what your ultimately your industry or your enterprise is going to benefit to the society. Is it really going to be helpful to the society or not? The second thing is the economical thing. If you cannot cut down your right hand to give charity, you need to have the right hand. To do that, you have to be sustainable, and for that you need profits, and so it is economical profits. And the third thing is environmental benefit. Please, just because you need to help the people, just because you need to have the profits and all those things, for heaven's sake, don't pollute this planet, because this is what, it is not our planet. We have borrowed it from our future, and we have to hand it over to our future. Tomorrow your children will say, what the hell did you give me? There is nothing there to live, and all those things. We have that responsibility towards our future and our generations as such. And what do we derive out of these things? We derive that we can create some wealth for the community, and if you can do that, some sort of a commitment comes out there, so that it will be with competitiveness. Commitment without competition or without competitiveness or without efficiency is of no use as such. Commitment, I can simply sit in my bed and say I have a lot of commitment and nothing happens and things like that. We need to really execute that. Then we have to revolutionize through the enterprise, and all these videos that we have been seeing, all the speeches we have been hearing today morning have been in one way or other rewriting the history or creating history or absolutely revolutionizing the existing system as such. And the success formula for real good social enterprise, like any other enterprise, is you have to have passion, then you have to have the resources, then you have to have a strategy. But please do everything good, do everything well, and do everything properly. And for this you can partner with the governments, or you can partner with academia. When I speak about academical partnership, you may think, what is this that you are going to have with academia? Organizations like ours, for instance, we partner with universities where we have internship from the students, and where the academics also are helping our groups. For instance, this university has got one self-help group which has been nurtured by us in Block F of the women's hostel. So what happens is, partnerships do work, and do work for the betterment of the society. Here, it's a real true win-win-win-win situation sort of. Everybody benefits out of that. Then you can have bilateral and multilateral partnerships. You can have partnerships with NGOs. You can have partnerships with the private sector. We are also partnering with an organization which is in Sri Perumbudur, and we are executing their corporate social responsibility, which is a social enterprise itself as such. Then we can partner with public sector. We can partner with the government and things. Then we have a lot of challenges in the sector. Is we don't have the proper acumen or proper business knowledge. We may have the passion, but we don't know how to go about it. That is one of the challenges. Then we do not know how to communicate our own strengths and our own weaknesses to the people. Then we have to create a community consciousness, and this becomes a real big challenge, because it's not easy that when you go into a community and start telling, people may throw stones at you initially. So all these things will be challenges. Then you have to constantly innovate. One innovation today becomes old by tomorrow. You have to continuously innovate. That becomes a challenge. Then very often we see in a social enterprise today is, halfway through people lose the steam, and there is a midway drift in the whole process as such. And then we have policy problems with the governments and the resource crunches and triple bottom lines. So after all hearing this, do you think that there are no social enterprises at all? Some of the oldest social enterprises have been the fishing nets. Whoever has invented the fishing net is a social entrepreneur, in my opinion, because what an amount of food it is giving there for the people as such. And the sewing machines, how many people, the destitute women and other people are living on the sewing things and things like that. Then the farm tractors, then Lizzat Papad, then Amul, of course, the Dabbawalas of Bombay. All these people are social entrepreneurs. They have had an idea and they have virtually focused, used their passion, and then do. And some of the social entrepreneurs that come to my mind, there are any number of social entrepreneurs. My apologies to all of them whom I have not mentioned here, but these are the people I could immediately relate to. One is Mr. Vinoba Bhave, who happened to have gathered something like 7 million of acres of land in this country and given it to the poor people as such. Then Mr. G.D. Naidu from Coimbatore, who have started. In those days when I was a student in the school, we used to get a pen for 50 paise. In those days, pens used to cost a bomb because it's not easily available. All of them were fountain pens. And then he revolutionized because he wanted to help the students to get the affordable rated pens and things like that. And he has done a lot of work in the agricultural innovations, etc. Then Dr. Verghese Kurian himself, and of course Professor Mohammad Yunus, who has revolutionized the microfinance sector. And this gentleman happens to be Percy Barnevik, who himself is a social entrepreneur in a different way. After working for almost 4 decades in the corporate sector, he came into the social sector and started pumping into money, and he happens to be our mentor, chief donor and advisor, and who has shaped our organization well. And when I went to London a few months back, I was taken aback to see one particular big plaque that says that, be the change you want to see to the world. Be the change you want to see in the world. And this has been kept in London, where with the British, Mr. Gandhi had a lot of struggle, which we all know through our history. And if these people have respected him, it is because of his social outlook. And at hand in hand, we try through child labor elimination and education, and women empowerment through self-help groups, microfinance, micro-enterprises and job creation, health and hygiene programs, environmental protection programs, and citizen centers, village knowledge centers, and then village upliftment programs. And by global partnerships, we work in South Africa, Afghanistan, Brazil, and we are about to get into Kenya and Sri Lanka. Hand in hand is an Indian NGO working internationally, and that is what gives us a matter of pride, and that is the reward of being in the social enterprises. Now, I have, just before I take leave of you, let me tell you, please, the society is giving us so much, we have a duty to give back to the society. And when you are giving it back, don't go there because you want to go there, but go there because they need you to be there. That's how it is. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for hearing me. Thank you very much.